Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask the Minister for Infrastructure what the total cost of training bus drivers is, how many were trained in each of the last 5 years, and how many of these are still working for Bus Vannin? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The total cost of training bus drivers over the last 5 years is £41,332. In 2017, 16 drivers were trained. In 2018, 15 drivers were trained. In 2019, it was 24 drivers. In 2020, it was 27 drivers. And in 2021, it was 19 drivers. And so far this year, it's been 7. Of a total of 108 drivers that have been trained over the last 5 years, a total of 29 have left Bus Vannin. 18 of these were casual drivers and 11 were permanent, leaving 79 of those still with us.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Minister. Is the training programme assessed externally in terms of success? You've given us some data there that looks quite impressive. Is that kind of the standard that will be expected? And in terms of Treasury, is separate funding required, or is that done from the department's budget? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I think the answer to both those questions, Mr. Speaker, is it's all done internally, internal money and internal examiners.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Can I ask the Minister what is the current annual training budget allocated for bus drivers and how that compares to the budget over each of the last 5 years? And obviously, if he doesn't have that information to hand, will he circulate it to all the members?
I will have to circulate that, Mr. Speaker. I don't have that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Given the current staff shortages, is this operational training seen as kind of being key to the future? And in terms of the bus drivers that decided not to stay with Bus Vannin, has there been communication with them recently in terms of are they available to work in the short term? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
As far as I know, approaches have been made to former drivers, Mr. Speaker, and if the honourable member can just repeat the first question.
In terms of providing a solution to the current challenges, is that training programme seen as being key to get additional drivers?
Yeah, absolutely. Training is absolutely key, and we like to, I suppose, know that we've trained those drivers up and they're used to our machinery, not only the buses but the ticketing machines as well. So yes, absolutely.
Mr. Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Bus Vannin management keeps training and in fact everything else about HR very closely. If the Minister agrees with me, it might be helpful to include Bus Vannin in wider Public Services Commission government processes.
I'm happy to have a conversation with the honourable member and expand on these thoughts there, Mr. Speaker. I'm not sure exactly where I was going with that, but I'm happy to follow up with them afterwards.
Mr. Moorhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. With regard to the 29 drivers who didn't continue with Bus Vannin, were exit interviews carried out and were they recorded and considered to enable us to go forward more effectively? And if that was done, is there anything that came to light in terms of what can be done better to ensure that more of the drivers stay with Bus Vannin? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm happy to find out that information, Mr. Speaker. I don't have it to hand.
Mr. Thomas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Earlier in a helpful written answer, the Minister advised that the Isle of Man was pretty much the only place in Europe that didn't apply CPC training guidelines, which affects disability and equality, for instance. Will the Minister reconsider the application of CPC training in the approach inside Bus Vannin?
For the benefit of members, could you tell us what CPC is? I presume that the Minister will know what we're talking about, as the rest of us.
The standard driver CPC training courses, which are provided online, and the standard practice certified professional competence.
Thank you. Minister.
The answer to that is yes, Mr. Speaker.
Turn to question